Hello everyone, this is Sudeep for Visual Art Stellar, welcoming you to another tutorial episode. Today I'm gonna show you how you can create Stranger Things title intro. Those guys who are following me for quite some time, you guys may have already watched the title intro I made. All those who are new here, you guys can simply go and check the title intro. But now I'm gonna show you step by step how you can create the title and then animate it and put that unique style into it. So first thing first, I have to create a new comp, and this time I'm gonna name it main comp and change it to somewhere like 1 minute and 1 frame, 30 frame rate, 1080. That's good. Now let's create a new solid for the background, and I'm gonna choose the black solid here, make it comp size. Okay, now let's create a text. Now here what you have to do is simply choose those text layer one by one and create shapes from text. And now you can see all those letters here. I will just change hide the fill, and I now put some stroke in them. Let's see how it is looking. Well, it looks good. I will do the same thing for all the characters here and also for the second title. So let me finish that and I'll be right back after that. Well, that's it. Now if you guys can remember the original intro animation, there are some single letters like A or G or R. They're moving extremely close to the camera. Here you can see that. So let's duplicate them. I'm gonna select stranger outline, then duplicate and rename them like A, duplicate again, and let's make it R, and then I will delete all the other shapes except A, delete, and I'm gonna create all those letters. Now as you can see, I have already duplicated and separated all those characters. Now first thing first, I will create a new camera. Let's select a 50mm camera. One node would be alright. Now I'm gonna hide those outlines. Right now I don't need the full title here. Let's move them and start with A. Now as you can see, I have already created a camera and all those shapes are here. Now it's time to make them 3D. Now I'll select the A, and once again I'm gonna set its anchor point to the middle. Now let's move it into a best position to start the animation. Now as you can see that the outline is creating some problem here. So what I can do, I can simply go to the content and let's turn off the first one. You basically don't have to delete the shape. It could get handy sometime, you know. So let's not delete, just keep it hidden. And now I'll move it up a little bit, and let's scale it up also. And now at this point I am setting its anchor point here, so that I can easily handle the animation. Now I felt that the stroke is quite thick here, so first thing first, I will change the stroke to 2. Now I will just try to move the letter to the Z direction at 3 seconds. I'm gonna create a keyframe for the position, and now I'm gonna create another keyframe, and you can see the animation looks good. Now at this very moment I will trim it down by pressing Alt close bracket, then jump to next frame by pressing page down key and select the next layer. Press Alt and open bracket to trim the layer down to set the initial frame just where the time indicator exactly is. Now make it visible and reposition the anchor point. Then I will actually change the stroke to 2, reposition it, and now I have to continue the same process with the other layers. But before I pause here and finish the animation, there is one more thing that I would share with you. Here as you can see that for the first part the camera is still and the titles are moving in front of camera, but in this case we have to do both. So first of all I'm gonna create a keyframe for the camera here at this position, and now here at this point I will I'm sorry, I forgot to turn the layers into 3D. So here I will simply move the camera, and let's think that it will take almost 5 seconds to settle. So let's create keyframe here, and you can also add keyframes or tweak them, or you can also modify them in the graph editor to make the animation a lot more smoother. And now as you can see that the camera animation is done. Now you can simply go to the end, and from the end you can create keyframe for all those uh, shapes here. And now just come back and start to move any one of them, like change both of them. So basically this is it. I'm gonna do the same thing with all the letters. After everything is done, I'm gonna select all of them and create a pre-comp and name it like title animation. And if I add a fill effect on it, it will look exactly what we want. But to do so, we have to complete the whole animation first. So let me create all those animation, and I'll be back soon after that. Okay, so now you guys can see that the title animation is complete. I will show you what I have done here, and that's it. Okay, so here you can see some new changes, like beside the title animation I have added a box here, and there is a slight deformation in the G's, and I have merged all those shapes. So let me take you to a quick tour, just to explain what I have done here. I have already created a comp specially to show you how this actually works. And now let's select the stranger shape layer. Go here and type strokes, stroke, and see all the stroke widths here. Just select all of them and say 2.0. Now it will be good. First of all, I'm gonna work with a G, and to do so, at this point when it get very close to N, at this point I will create a keyframe and just remove the phrase from the finding option box and expand the shape layer, and not for the S, look into the G, select the path, create a keyframe, and I will move the last keyframe 2 frame ahead and press G or select the pen tool from here. I will create another point here, and I'm taking this point as a reference just to make sure that I'm putting the point in the right place there. And now I'll create a couple of point there, these two, perfect. And now go to 1 frame and just start to deform. Yeah, that's it. Now for the mask, create, you have to select the pen tool with to create mask option, and let's create a mask, but you know you'll eventually face a problem, and the problem is whenever we try to mask it out here, uh, because of all the shapes are together included in this layer, so both of the shapes are gonna mask out. So I have to create 2 duplicates, one for the N, stranger N, and one for the R. And now I want to continue the masking process. And now you guys can see that I have duplicated all those layers. So basically I didn't eliminated all the other shapes. So let's delete the R, delete the other shapes but the R, and here for the N, that's good. And I will delete, I will delete the R and the N from here. And now if I make them visible, it will be alright. Well, I guess that's it. I don't need to think about it anymore. Now for the end, I will actually do the same thing. I'm gonna select the pen tool, select tool creates mask option, and then just create a mask, subtract, create a keyframe for the mask path, and that's it, I guess. And similarly, I have to create and adjust the mask for the R, and after completing this, it will look like this one. Here you can see the actual animation. It may looks like uh, you can simply uh, see the overlapped edges, but you don't have to think about any special treatment here, because it's gonna hide eventually when we add looks over it. So that's it. And for the lines here, you can simply, you know, create a new shape here as the rectangle. Now just expand it, select the rectangle path, right click, convert it to Bezier path, and create a keyframe for the path. Now just animate it. Press Alt open bracket to trim it. That's it. Following this one, I've also created those two short lines. It's very quick and very easy. So the animation part is done here. Now the next part is the looks, and before proceeding any further, let's make a duplicate of the title animation. I'm doing it on purpose, but I will tell you later. Now just uh, make it invisible and unselect the visible layer and right click, new, create a black solid. Let's name it texture uh, underscore title. Now go to effect and preset, type fractal noise here under noise and grain, just drag and drop. Let's change the contrast to somewhere like 26, and the brightness to somewhere -26. Complexity, I'm gonna change the complexity later. Just change the evolution first. Let's change it to somewhere like 1 rotation and 112 frame. Now change the complexity down to 2. Yeah, that's it. And now I'm gonna select the title layer and toggle switch mode, or you can simply expand the panel here and change the track matte to luma matte. See, it is good. Now just select the texture layer and press S and just scale it up a lot more bigger, like 400 or something, 390 is good. And now I'm gonna create another solid a black solid also, and let's say it like blur, and I'm gonna add another fractal noise to this one. Just make the contrast higher, like 326, and brightness to somewhere like -40 or something. Yeah, complexity down to 2.8 would be great. Evolution should be like yeah, that would be great. Now make it invert, and now I'm gonna make the duplicate title layer visible, and also make it luma matte, and here you can see the changes. And now just select the blur and press S and scale it up a little bit, like this is good. Now I will select both of them and create a pre-comp with texture title, and these two gonna be blur title. And now I will add a fill effect on it. I'm gonna select the color around here. It's okay. Now let's add a fast box blur. Blur radius should be somewhere like 30. This is good. And the iterations should be like 6, and let's change the blur radius to somewhere 25, or yeah, 28 is the best. It is good. And now one last thing, add a hue saturation with colorize activated. Let's change the hue to somewhere near 19, and the color saturation should be up to almost 100, and the lightness should be like 10. We can also animate it later. So this looks good. And now I will create a new solid. This time I will take a white solid, and I will put it in the middle between blur and texture. And now I will start to add some effects to create a look that I actually want. So let's start with adding a cross blur effect. So select the white solid, and let's find CC cross blur. Yes, there it is. And well, I've accidentally put it inside the blur, so don't worry, cut it and select and paste it on the right layer. And with selecting the white solid, I will click on the checkbox to activate the adjustment layer option. It will actually help us to get the output of all the effects combined together that we are gonna apply into the solid layer. So now let's move the time indicator to somewhere there. And one thing I forgot to do is to change the blending mode for the blur layer to add. And now let's go back to white solid and change the blur radius X and Y both to 10. And now I will add a curve. Let's adjust it. I'll add an exposure, and let's change it to somewhere like 0.6, and change the offset to 0.2, and the gamma correction to 0.95. That's it. Now let's minimize them, and now add a glow. Let's change the threshold to uh, 9.8, and yes, the radius should be somewhere like 28. Glow intensity a little bit lower, and now the glow operation none. Then change it to A and B color, change the color to pure red for both of them, and that's it. Let's create another duplicate and move it to top, and reset all option. Change the glow threshold to somewhere up to 97%, and glow radius to somewhere near 2, glow intensity 5, and now let the other options remain same, and I will just duplicate it one time and do nothing. Now I will add a noise. Amount of noise should be like 50% would be great, and uh, noise type should be monochromatic, not color, and the clipping should be checked. Yes, that's it. And now the last thing, I need a fast blur, and change it to 1, and the iteration should be like 1 or 2. Now you can see that the whole scene is blown up, and we can quickly fix this problem because this white solid is affecting upon all these two layers. So if we can actually turn the BG invisible, then it will only act upon the title, and now you can see it looks perfect. And now you can actually add a new solid, make it black, change the name to vignette, make comp size okay. Now go to rectangle tool, change it to ellipse, move the vignette layer at the top, and now double click on ellipse tool. It will create a mask. Now just invert the mask, and now I will get a feather, and now if I just simply create a keyframe here with the mask expansion value to somewhere like 300, and then change it to negative 536, it will smoothly disappear. You can make it a little bit longer. I guess I can move it up here. a little bit. Yeah, that's it. And now at this point you guys can simply download film noise stock footage. You guys can find plenty of royalty free stock footage in the internet. You can simply download it and just put it on top of the layer, and it's gonna give you an old scratchy uh, film noise looks for the title animation. So let me show you the final result after creating the animation and tweaking all these attributes I made. But at the end I have created this 5 as the indication of the season number, and here I just put a bonus effect, this one. I simply place the demigorgon character here, and here I did just a quick rotoscopy work and matched it with the number so that it looks like it jumps out of the number 5, and that's it. So if you guys have liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with others. And if you guys are new to this channel, then please do subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notification as soon as I upload a new content. So that's it for now. Bye bye. Be happy, be creative.